Hello and welcome to this video tutorial on the changes to the Dropbox feature in D2L version 10.3. The good news here is that there are only two changes that are unique to the Dropbox function. What is unchanged in the new version is how to get there. We can get to the Dropbox function directly from the nav bar, which is located near the top of your course screen. For this tutorial, we will be working from a course in the 10.3 beta environment. You can tell that you are in a beta or test environment because the screen has a cool green background when you are in full screen viewing mode. Here is what we see after clicking on Dropbox in the nav bar. The only change from 10.1 to 10.3 on this screen is that the old edit function is now called bulk edit. The icon used for bulk edit is the same icon that was used in 10.1 for edit. In this test course in the beta environment of 10.3, we will click on the Dropbox, which is titled Individual Submission Folder, to show you where the more significant changes are. This is a view of a Dropbox in the old version 10.1. The only difference between the view of this screen in 10.1 and how it will look in 10.3 is that the newer version adds a third button to the right of the Edit folder and the Email Users Without Submissions button. And here's what it looks like in 10.3. The new button is titled Add Feedback Files. In the 10.1 version of D2L, instructors could do a bulk download of students' files that had been submitted to the Dropbox. But they could not similarly do a bulk upload of files going back to the individual students as the instructor feedback. Instructors who did give students feedback in the form of a file attachment had to individually submit them to each student individually. Let's click on the Add Feedback Files button and see what happens in 10.3. Long story short, uploading a compressed zip file in the same format that it was downloaded from the Dropbox in D2L and then clicking Add at the bottom will post your feedback to each student, and D2L will take care of getting all those files back to the student who submitted the original. Please be aware that the Overwrite Duplicate Files selection box is set to the checked position on default. If you do not want duplicate files to be overwritten, then you need to uncheck the box. Another note, compressing and using zip files is beyond the scope of this tutorial. We are focusing here only on what the changes are to the Dropbox functions in 10.3. This view is from an actual course in the 10.1 version of D2L. This is the folder submissions view where you would go to see the files that students had submitted so far. We are using it to highlight one of the shortcomings of that older version that have been fixed in the new release 10.3. Notice how the instructor was allowed to give feedback only to those students who had completed a submission. These gray bars here indicate that there were two students from this shot who had not yet completed this Dropbox activity. Therefore, the instructor could not give them feedback on this activity via D2L. The new version of D2L allows instructors to give every student in their course feedback on a Dropbox activity, regardless of whether the student had submitted something or not. This is especially helpful for those situations where a student completed the Dropbox activity in some manner other than an electronically submitted file. For example, the student created something in a format that could not be submitted in a digital format and they physically handed something in to the instructor. And that is it for the changes to the Dropbox feature in D2L. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this tutorial. If you have any questions about D2L, please contact the Office of Learning Technology Services, learn@stout.edu.